Are you avoiding this? Yes, that weekly marketing activity that you know you ought to be doing. Here's to all the artists out there who actively fill up their week with anything but that marketing activity. And then the end of the month comes and uh-oh, not so many sales are happening. And look, I know it's not all of you. A big shout out to my art marketers here. Those of you who are writing the weekly emails, you're making the blogs, you're making the videos, you're showing up on social media, although it's probably the last thing that you actually want to be doing. But here's the critical thing, you're doing it anyway. The thing is, like all aspects of running a business, the better your planning is, the better your results are going to be. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 6 simple steps I take each week to fill out my marketing calendar. So why not follow along and do exactly the same? Let's go ahead and dive straight in. So step 1 is having an art marketing plan. I use a little resource here, excuse my messy desk behind me, which is a really simple, it's just a few pages actually, art marketing plan I've created for my Art Business Academy membership members, and I ended up just printing it off and using it myself. It just really focuses in on the basics that you need. Now I do have an art marketing plan video, but I realized it's quite old, so I'm going to be updating it. It's probably going to be the next video. So if you're watching this in the future, then I will be linking it below this one, an updated for 2025, really essential art marketing plan. Now, why do we need one of these? It's really essential to be able to remind yourself of things like goals. What goal have you set yourself specifically in the area of marketing? Otherwise, you just don't really have a clear purpose and a direction with your art marketing activity. So you want to remind yourself, what are those goals and what am I doing on a week-by-week basis to move myself closer to achieving the goal? Here's a simple example. So the goal might be to increase your mailing list to your first 1,000 subscribers by, I don't know, October, maybe 6-9 months away, whatever it is for you. But we want a goal that needs to be really specific, what it is, nice numbers, and a date by which you're going to be doing it. So the question is, well, what are you doing activity-wise to enable that mailing list to grow and to move yourself towards the goal? At the end of the day, if you're not paying attention to this, you're not going to end up with those 1,000 subscribers. And you know how important having a mailing list is. I talk about it all the time. It really is the core part of your business. So you want to be doing something towards that goal. You might be, I don't know, creating YouTube videos. You might be running ads on Instagram. You might be running a competition at a local art fair. It doesn't matter what you're doing, so long as you're creating some sort of activity towards the goal you set yourself in your art marketing plan. Number 2, the art marketing strategies you're actually going to be using. There are so many out there to choose from. And if you're a little bit confused, I've just updated my 40 ways to market your art freebie. So don't forget to grab yourself a copy of that. Check the link below this in the description. It's been newly updated, and I think it's definitely going to give you some ideas of what you could be doing to marketing your art. 40 ways, 40 ideas. That's an awful lot, people. We definitely don't want to be doing that. I recommend 3 to 5 marketing strategies that you do sort of week in, week out. Some of them might be monthly, some of them might be daily, but at the end of the day, they're all going to end up on this weekly marketing activity planner. You might want to ask yourself, how much of your marketing strategy is content strategy versus paid for strategy? i.e., this is a content strategy. If I'm running a Facebook or Instagram or Google ad, that's a paid for strategy. Now, obviously, you set the ad up and it runs, you can be in the studio. With a content strategy, you've got to create the video, write the blog, etc., etc. And you need to make sure that the strategies you've chosen are something you can actually manage. And this is why having this planner is so useful. Now, if you're not sure where to start or what to choose, think about that target audience. Where are they hanging out? That's a great place to start. If you're not sure who your target audience are, guess what? I've got a video for that too, and I'll link all those useful resources below this one. Okay, so step number three is where, what, and when. So let's look at a bit of a diagram here. Sophie's got her pink pens out. All right, so if I just make a really simple diagram here, and we say, where are you creating this content? So on what platform? What specifically are you going to be creating? And how often or when is this content going to go out? So for example, we're on YouTube. So we might say, okay, we're on YouTube. Primarily, we want to make long form videos. We might decide to make shorts, but I'm making long form video. So I'm going to say long form videos. Now how often am I going to do these? Well, once a week, twice a week would be great. So I'm going to go once weekly, and maybe 2 would be good, right? So the next thing we might be saying, okay, so the next strategy, where is email? So we say, where is that? It's email marketing. And then what are we going to be sending out? Well, it sounds obvious. We're going to be sending out written emails. So the content's going to be emails. So it's written content. And you might say plus pictures plus video. So we might go plus video. How often are we going to do an email? Well, I think once a week is great. So we're going to go once per week. All right, the next one, for example, if you said, okay, I'm on social media, I'm maybe on Instagram. So we might say, okay, where? So Instagram. What's the content we're going to do on Instagram? Well, okay, at the moment, this year, a strategy that's very good is carousel. We might be making, if you want me to do a video on carousels and why that works so well on Instagram, then don't forget to leave me a comment below and we'll put that together. So we might say carousels, and we might say reels. Look, reels still work, so they're in there, and we might say stories. How often are we going to be on Instagram? Well, ideally, we really want to be 5 days a week, but you might say, that's a bit much. I'm going to commit to somewhere between 3 and 4 days a week. So I'm going to say 3 to 4 per week. My W's are legible now. And so, for example, then, I'm just going down here, you might say, okay, another strategy is blogging on my website. So where? Website. I think my pink pen might need replacing. It's going to be written. This is good to know, isn't it? Because there's quite a bit of written content happening now. And it might also contain video. When am I going to do that? So I might say, well, do you know what? Right now, I probably don't have the time. There's a lot going on. I'm probably not going to manage 1 a week, but I might manage 2 per month. So I'm going to say 2 per month. And that's quite useful because obviously we're doing a weekly plan. So we know that, 1 week we're going to need one of these, 1 week we won't need one of those. So we might get a little bit strategic with that, but that is the basic thing that you'll want. That's a good part of your plan. So there's 4 strategies. If you've got a 5th one, you can add it in down there. So step number 4, now you've worked out what it is you're going to be doing, is organizing by task. So this is about batching. We've already seen from this that we've got written content, we've got video content, and we've got some image content. Not a lot, but we have those different things. So what you're going to do is you're going to write out the different activities that you've got to be doing in any 1 week so that you could batch them together. So if you have a good morning where you're good at writing, you might write all the writing tasks. You might complete all the writing tasks. Then obviously, if you're going to be doing what I'm going to be doing, you might think to yourself, well, hold on, now I've got the camera out and I'm making video. What other videos do I need to be making? So let's just have a look with the other end of the pen. So if we were to look together, we know we've got written here, we've got written here, we've got definitely some written here. Now, obviously, there's a script that needs to be written too, so I'm going to say there's a script to be written there. And what about video? So we've got videos to make, video, well, that's probably that video, so probably don't need to worry about that one, but there's video to make here as well, and this video is also probably this video. So that's probably 1 video. So you might write out things like all written content, all photo images, maybe editing graphics on Canva, maybe shooting videos, editing videos. So you could write out all the different things that you need to do and see if you can put them together and do them in one kind of hit. And a top tip to remember that you really want to try and repurpose things. So for example, this video that's here, obviously it's going to be repurposed into a blog and made sure it's got good SEO on it for your website. And then could you take that video and actually break it down into a carousel post? So could I make a carousel post out of this video? Absolutely. Could I make like a little trailer if I wanted to as a reel or a short? Definitely I could do that. So there's all sorts of things I could do. Would I talk about it on the email? Definitely. So one piece of content, remember, can do lots of different things. Okay, so step number 5 is about filling out the planner. So now we've worked out what we're doing, we've thought about batching, we've now got to decide, well, when are we going to do things? So I like this planner, I made it for the membership, but this has kind of got a sort of, it's an AM and an AM slot, and then a lunch break, and then PM and evening. So what I might think to myself is, this is what I like to do first. I like to go through and say, okay, when is my video going to come out? If I'm going to be doing YouTube. So for example, I like the video to come out here. So I'm going to write V for video. And then when am I going to be sending emails? Well, I like my email, ironically, to go out on the same day. So I'm going to write email on here. And it's a bit of a reminder. Then I might say, when am I going to do these Instagram posts? So I might say Instagram here, Instagram, and Instagram. And you're going to do this exactly with whatever strategies you're doing. And then maybe I want to repurpose that video, and then perhaps what I want to remember is that from the weeks before, I'm actually going to put a blog here every 2 weeks. So this week I'm going to put blog in, but I'm going to remember that next week there is no blog, and then the week after there's a blog. So now with a different kind of pen, because one can, we're going to say, okay, the first thing I'm going to do in the morning is I'm going to plan out all the content. Then I'm going to do written content here as much as I possibly can. That means planning the video, it might be planning the email, etc. And then let's say, for example, Tuesday, I'm going to shoot, and then I'm going to edit the video. And then I might also just say, okay, over here, I'm also going to plan and create my social media. So I'm going to say social media content. That might also mean kind of writing out the posts I'm going to do, taking some photos. Now remember that we're shooting here. So we can also shoot the video, we can shoot reels. It's just a reminder that it's a shooting spot. This is an editing spot. It means I can edit all different sorts of things. It might mean that I have to continue editing here. Okay, now you're looking and going, oh my God, Sophie, when am I going to actually get anything done? Sometimes a week can look like that, right? So then if I want to put the blog onto the website and I know that I want it out here, perhaps that's an end of week task. So I might say every Friday or every second Friday for that blog, I'm going to do website tasks and I'm going to put the blog up. All right, then what else have we got on here? We've got some commenting. Well, we know we want to show up on social media on the day that we post. So I'm going to put an asterisk here, asterisk there. So we haven't actually scheduled and done our email. We know the email wants to come out here. We've done some written content here. That could be the video script, could also be the email. But if you're not really feeling it, you could end up writing the email here. Plus you'll have shot the video and likely taken some photos. So we might put also photos here. We might remind ourselves, so the photo will be very useful to go in the email. Now we look here, these things go live on this day. We definitely want to show up and be a bit engaging on YouTube, but actually the rest of this is free. This is free, this is free. Now, I'm not saying that that's how your week is going to look, but it might be that you choose the front end of the week to do a lot of the work and that you use these morning slots to continue. And it might be when you're first getting going, and if you're doing something, you can see I've written Substack down there, which I'm debating doing. That might be that I actually need to continue doing perhaps written here, 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 and here, and that what will happen is that I'll end up with a different coloured pen. Let's use this colour pen, why not? That I will be using this for painting, for example. Now this is an evening slot, so that's definitely not me, so I'm going to go, but I might say, well, this is for where I'm going to paint. That's quite a lot of slots still for a new business, right? That's still quite a lot of time to actually create your artwork. Okay, so here we are at step 6, and it's really simple. Take action. You know, commit to the plan that you've created. You've created it, you've taken the time to work it out. Now you just got to do it. You get up on the Monday and you go, this is what I'm doing for the Monday. You get up on the Tuesday, this is what I've said I'm going to do on the Tuesday. And each week it might be different, and that's really okay, right? The main thing is that you've made the plan and you've committed to yourself to stick to it. So in conclusion, if you follow these 6 simple steps, you really can't go wrong. The only thing that can happen is you have one of those weeks where there's an exhibition, where there's a show, you're running a workshop, you haven't necessarily got all of these days. But as you can see, these 3 days don't really have so much in them. It's really the beginning of the week that has a lot. And it could be that you find a different routine. And by trialing a few different ways of doing it, you'll find the perfect week for you. And my tip would be try and do the same things on the same days. Try and build a routine that's comfortable. So if someone says, oh, could you do this on a Tuesday? You might say, oh no, Tuesday is my YouTube video. I don't give that day up for anything. That's my number one strategy. That's the most important thing I do, or whatever it is for you, of course. So I'm just sharing a little bit of behind the scenes. Now, if you've loved this content, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, because it really helps other artists just like you to see the content that I'm creating. And if you'd like to see more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. All the resources I've mentioned, including the new updated 40 ways to market your art, are all in as links in the description below this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.